Elon Musk, the current richest man in the world, recently released his first massive bombshell against the entire establishment, including the deep state, the Democratic Party, big tech, and Silicon Valley oligarchs, plus the mainstream media. If you haven't read through the thread from Elon Musk and Substack journalist Matt Taibbi, basically what it details was the internal communications between Twitter personnel and U.S. lawmakers surrounding the censorship of the New York Post Hunter Biden laptop story that exploded on the scene back in October 2020, just weeks before the presidential election. Several months ago, a poll conducted by the Media Research Center found that 16% of Biden voters said they would have voted differently if they had known about the Hunter Biden laptop scandal. And in an election that had come to be decided by just 30,000 votes, 16% is gigantic and it's decisive. So of course the question is, why did they not hear about this story, this bombshell from the New York Post? And the answer is, it is now being shown to the world for all to see. It's being called the Twitter files. These newly named records and the corresponding revelations were posted on Twitter a few days ago by Taibbi on behalf of Elon Musk, and they show emails and other documents that detail how the Twitter management team worked with FBI and Democrat officials to deliberately bury the Hunter Biden story. There are emails from Biden's 2020 campaign team to Twitter that showed that they were demanding Twitter to censor any and all content damaging to then-candidate Joe Biden. Then there are the emails that responded to them from high-up Twitter employees stating these directions had been handled, meaning staff members fulfilled the illegal requests. So it was with these new findings that we have learned that Twitter took extraordinary steps to suppress the Hunter Biden story. These included the removal of links, the posting of warnings that the story was unsafe to read. They even blocked direct messages that linked to the story, which was an extreme measure usually meant to be used mainly to delete cases of Twitter users sharing child porn. The Twitter executives behind these actions actually claimed that the New York Post story had violated their hacked materials policy. In other words, Twitter leftists justified banning the report by actually claiming that the New York Post had hacked into Hunter Biden's laptop, which of course never happened. The story itself reported that Hunter left his laptop at a computer repair shop in Wilmington, Delaware, and never picked it up, and it was the repair shop owner himself who made a copy of the hard drive as part of the repair process. There was no hacking involved, and we now know that the Twitter higher-ups themselves revealed in their emails to each other that they knew that this hacked materials excuse was absolutely bogus, but nobody cared. No one did anything to reverse the decision to block the story, and of course throughout this whole process, the New York Post staff was locked out of their account, as well as then White House spokesperson Kayleigh McEnany. They were all locked out of their accounts for sharing the story. Everybody at Twitter seemed to know that what they were doing was wrong. None of the Twitter users involved violated any terms of service. But because the Twitter employees were Democrats, and because the Democrat Party was pressuring them to do so, they imposed these radically punitive measures anyway. It was utterly insane, and even worse, an FBI attorney was pushing Twitter to bury the Hunter Biden story. Not just any FBI lawyer, an FBI legal counselor who is behind the whole Trump-Russia Spygate fabrication. An FBI lawyer who was deliberately trying to remove Trump from office. This man actively advised Twitter to bury the story, and it has been found that conservative celebrities, such as James Woods and others, were deliberately targeted by Twitter executives. This is no surprise, and this is all just the tip of the iceberg. Another data dump is supposed to happen soon. So as of today, Elon Musk is now officially the emperor of whistleblowers. It used to be the legacy media loved whistleblowers. Now they despise them. Steve Bannon stated that these documents have now been published for all the world to see. These communications demonstrate that we have a national security globalist intelligence apparatus that works closely with mainstream media and big tech to incessantly rig the whole of political, economic, and cultural life around their own values, interests, and concerns to benefit themselves. It is just so fascinating to have a close look at the inner workings of what appears to be one of the centers for these PSYOP campaigns in Twitter, which deliberately hid information. So in this case, it was during the last weeks leading up to the 2020 presidential campaign, so as to ensure that voters would vote the way the powers that be wanted them to, and all of this is just another way of saying that Elon Musk has done more to push back against the permanent political class establishment than the whole of the Republican Party combined. One man has done more than an entire political party to begin the process of bringing down the Goliath apparatus of the U.S. globalist regime, and he's even teasing revealing comparable U.S. deep state interference in Brazil's recent presidential election. It remains to be seen how that will play out. Despite the flood of information that has been released thus far, there's an even more fundamental question in all of this as to why is Elon doing this? Why is Elon, one person, doing more than the whole of the Republican Party? Why is the richest man on earth so determined on exposing and thereby crushing the regime? One theory that's circulating out there that is quite interesting is, the Biden administration announced several months back, before any chatter about Elon Musk taking over Twitter, that the Securities and Exchange Commission were planning on launching an investigation into Elon's business affairs. Despite there being different reports on that, it could involve just one claim that has surfaced, which has to do with Musk's involvement with the promotion of the Dogecoin cryptocurrency. There is another mention of a possible federal investigation of the Tesla autopilot system. Regardless of what the White House has in mind about launching investigations into Elon's affairs, one theory is that Musk's purchasing of Twitter is part of what might be considered as his preemptive strike against the whole of the regime. As the continuing intrigue is unveiled layer by layer, it is clear to see that Elon Musk is a solid fan and champion of free speech, but there seems to be something even larger going on here. It goes beyond ideological considerations. Elon Musk is currently the world's richest man, and it seems like he really is launching a full-scale operation to discredit and bring down the intelligence agencies, big tech leftists, and the legacy media. The massive bombshell Twitter data drop may go down in history as the takedown of the deep state, once and for all.